Hey Deb, how are we doing today?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Let me fix that right there. Does that every time. All right. So today, well, happy Monday. We made
Thanks.
it through another week. And today we're going to talk a little bit about self care and the work life balance, which I
I
think we
keep
can
a myth.
both agree is a myth. Yep. I always tell people life is work and work is life.
Well, I
They
just
kind of have
always,
to work together.
I can't be a mother. I'm a mom all the time. I can't go, well, I'm not going to be a mom for the next 5 hours. I mean, or a wife, or a daughter, or a cousin, or an aunt. I have to learn how to say, you have to learn boundaries, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You learn how to do it, and sometimes life is more work than work is, and
Yeah.
sometimes work is more than life is, and they kind of even
They
out in
all
the
kind
end.
all kind of mesh.
They, at least in my world, everything meshes. So
What I do like about working for myself, though, is that I'm not tied to an office from 8 to 6. Where if Hal needs to go to the doctor, or I have a doctor's appointment, or I want to take a break, I just go do it. you know I have tasks I have to get done, and as long as I get them done when they're supposed to get done, doesn't matter when I do it. So I can balance myself like that, because I can choose when I want to do it.
yeah,
So
that's same here, and that gives us the freedom to then get what we need to done in a day,
right.
or in that week, or in that month, or whatever it is,
And
or
I do
like
think it's difficult if you work for
mm,
somebody. And I always think, if you're a mom, or even a dad, and your kid has a soccer game in the afternoon and you want to be there, and your boss says, no, you can't be there. You got to, do this. And I'm thinking, I mean, I think that becomes unbalanced, because what's more important? I mean, your job is important because you need to make money to feed your family. But then your kids want you to show up at the games because my parents showed up at my events. Now, my events happened to be, I was in orchestra, I was in musical stuff, so it was always in the evenings. So, but like if I did the afternoons, like if I had ball games in the afternoon, I played softball. My mom would come. My dad never went, which didn't bother me because my dad didn't even know what a football looked like. He was not a sports guy at all. But my mom would come, and I loved it when they would come and be in the audience. And I'm sure anybody's kids likes that. But if to always say, "Why can't my boss won't let me?" And you see TV shows all the time and stuff. I should have spent more time with my family. My dad was never home because he was always working. In fact, Hal says that all the time. He goes, "I was never home because I had to make money for my family." So I don't know where that comes in, because he can't tell. He worked for Big Shot with Manhattan, in working in Manhattan. What was it? Kraft Foods and stuff. Sorry, I got to go home because I need to be Santa for Michael's kindergarten class. So it's difficult, I think, if you do work for somebody, but you can't. I think it becomes unbalanced many times. So
yeah, in my world, my parents rarely came to my stuff, but it wasn't because that they were working a lot of the times. My dad less more than my mom came. It was because there was like four other kids behind me. So she was dealing with all that. So I would walk to my games, get rides from friends, whatever they were, and I was in like tons of different sports all the time or activities. But I could walk. I walked all around our area, and we were lived on the side of a freaking hill. So I got a lot of exercise too. So it was very rare that my parents actually came to anything that I did. Now, later on with my younger siblings, they would go because then they weren't so tired. I think I'm pretty sure my youngest sister. I mean, went to everything with her, and yeah, they. But my stuff, it was very rare unless I needed a ride, and my mom was the carpool for that, whatever tournament we were in at the time. I rarely saw them, and it didn't really bother me because I think like with my other friends at the time, none of their parents ever showed up either. So it was kind of a different thing. Now, not that we didn't have lack of our parents being around. The school I went to was a very small Catholic school, and they were always there. So the sporting events, not so much. The school stuff, they were always around. Everybody knew who they were. So
But
that's kind of how it went for me.
I think
Yeah.
you have to decide like what's
Yeah.
important to you. I mean, I know everybody wants to make money, and I think
Mhm.
you need money to live, but how much money do you need to live? I mean, do you need to have the fanciest car and buy Starbucks every day? And if that means if I need to work so I could have more stuff, I'd rather work less so I can spend more time. Time is the one commodity you can never get back, and I'd
Exactly. Yep. So
rather
with yeah, with me when I like was coming up with the kids, I was like I made sure I went to everything. As much as I could go to all their stuff, I went. I did miss things because I was at one point working for a corporation, but they were pretty good about letting me go in the middle of the day to do stuff
And I
with the
think wise
kids.
employers
Yeah.
will do that. Now you can get abusive employees. I mean, I get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that if the work gets done, what does it matter? I just never liked paying for butts in the chair. Now I get it if you have a
Yeah.
retail place, the store has to be open from 8 to 5. Somebody needs to be there. But far as what we do, what does it matter? I remember when I worked at my first job as a CPA, the guy Tony, I would talk about him a lot. He worked till 8 o'clock every night because he was so stupid. He was slow. And everybody, oh, look how hard he works. Should I be staying till 8 o'clock and go slower because I can get it done faster? I mean, he didn't know how to operate it. We didn't have computers back then. That's how ancient I am. We did it with the 10-key calculator. He had to pick each. I said, take 5 minutes and learn where the keys are. Make good work papers. So when you're looking at it next year, what did I mean by that? Write directions down. So I would do all of those investment things so in the future I would save time, and that paid off. So he never would do that. So he worked till 8 o'clock. And, oh, look how hard he works, blah blah blah. So his value was based on the hours he spent there. And I thought, what a silly thing to track and put on value. Why isn't the value the output that you do? The fact that I can do the same output in 6 hours and it takes him 12. Why is he rewarded? And why am I penalized?
Yeah.
Because if they charge the customers by the hour. If I took 2 hours to do a tax return, and let's say it's $100 an hour, that's $200. If he took 4 hours, same tax return, they get charged 400. I thought that was silly. So if you were fortunate enough to get me, your tax return price was less than if you got him. So the boss said, "Well, you don't make as much per client as Tony does." Yeah, because he takes longer. Why don't you charge a flat rate? That was back. I was 25 years old when I was preaching it. I'm now 68. Do the math. So
So yeah. And again, I mean back to your point before I interrupted you, like how much money do you need?
right,
Do you need to keep burning both ends to make more money? Where's your
right,
point where it's okay? And my needs have changed over the years.
right,
They've gone up and down, so I just adjust. Now I've learned, I mean early on I didn't know it, but now I've learned how to adjust when I have more time. I just went through a couple years of family things that we had to go through, so I had to scale back a lot.
right.
But it was okay because also I invested wisely,
Yeah,
and I took all the surplus money and put it into nice
right.
savings accounts that did well. So every time I see that, I'm like, all right, I don't have to take on that many clients now.
Right.
So
I told
yeah.
I told my kids, I said, money grows. If you start investing a little bit off the top, first off, you don't miss it, just like you don't miss the
Hmm.
taxes that are withheld because you don't have them. Take 10%. I remember when I was married to my first husband, and I took 10% off my check every month and put it in a savings account. And then we saw a house we wanted to buy. And he goes, "Oh, we can afford that." I go, "Oh, yeah, we can." How? I've been saving 10% of my paycheck. Really? I mean, he never missed it,
Yep.
because he spent to the limit of what was in the back of the checkbook register. So I thought if I take it off the top, I'm not going to miss it. So that worked. And then when I worked as a CPA and did not like how they ran how the profession was, where hourly billing, tracking every 6 minutes. I hated it. That's when I went into Mary Kay Cosmetics, and now I again was in charge of my life. So when I had my kids, I could stay home with them and do my Mary Kay business around their schedule. And then I did have someone come in and help me, but she was with the kids in the house, and I could be off in my office, which happened to be the pantry of my kitchen, and do my work. And if I had to run out for 2 hours, I could. And I actually made more. I made good money doing that. I had a free pink Cadillac and the whole thing. But I could work my life around my family, which to me was important. And then they grew up, and I met Hal, and things got better. And I remember when I was first with Hal, we were in Publix, which is a grocery store here, and I wanted some orange marmalade. And I'm looking at the orange marmalade. I said, "Well, there's the generic brand." He goes, "Do you like the generic brand?" I go, "Well, that's all I can afford." You know, he goes, I can afford the Smuckers." You can afford Smuckers. I mean, I remember I could buy name brand groceries, and I remember said I needed tomato paste, and I would buy the cheapo
Mhm.
white label tomato paste, and I said my mom always bought Contadina tomato paste. Well, you can afford it's like it was 25 cents more, whatever it was. I go, it's 25 cents more. I can afford it. He goes, oh, I can buy Contadina tomato. We still talk about that, but even
Oh my gosh.
I had no money. I still ate well but I bought the non name brand stuff. I didn't stop at Starbucks every day. I went to Wawa's. I still had coffee. So I drove it. When I wasn't in Mary Kay anymore, I had to buy my own car, which was a shock after 10 years of driving free cars. I got a used car, and it worked. So, but I never felt poor.
Mhm.
Now could I remember going out to eat with my friend Valerie, who she has a lot of money, and she would always buy a dinner, and I'd always buy an appetizer.
All right. So yeah, I mean, self care is managing your money. That's part of self care, and also the bigger part, I think, because you can only do that if you're one making the money, but two being healthy enough to go out and do and handle that strain and stress that comes with going out and earning that income and being an entrepreneur and building your own business. It's hard on your mind and your body and your soul sometimes, plus the family, because you have to give up things. I remember the first like 3 years of my business, and my family was awesome because I sat them down and said, okay, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to need to work 16 hours a day to get everything going. I'm going to work over here at this job, then I'm going to come home and work at this one to build the business. Now, I had already been built businesses
Hmm.
tons of times. But this one was like, okay, this is going to get us to where we want to go, which we wanted to move out of where we were to a different location so that my son could go to the school that would be the best fit for him. So, and I told him, I said, every day, Monday through Sunday, I'm going to work 16 to 18 hours a day and I'm going to get this to work. And that's what I did for the first 3 years. Then it got better. I was able, actually, after 18 months, I was able to quit the job. So it got a lot better. Um, and the money started coming in and we started getting out of debt and we're able to move to where we wanted to go, so it got a lot better. But I did have to miss a few things with the kids, but the kids took over and my husband took over and they had my back, so they took care of the house stuff and they took care of I didn't go to all the practices. I went to some of the practices. So I made a balance. I always went to all their swim. My kids were swimmers. I always went to all the swim meets. I figured out how to travel for the travel stuff and how to work my business around that. In fact, my business was designed so that I could travel and be at the swim meets. Now, I was the mom sitting in a chair that had the laptop going because a swim meet is you wait for 4 hours for 30 seconds for your kid to swim. So, like, I wait 4 hours. What am I going to do? So I get stuff done. So that's where I started to get into the real true work life balance as the myth, I believe it is, and
Right.
really more the self care, making sure that I was eating right. At some point, I was not eating right, and that was then getting I was getting sick. Making sure you have to build your body to get stronger, and your mind too. You have to fill your mind with the right things. So you have to stop watching things. Like I stopped watching the news. I
I
don't watch the news anymore.
I did some
Uh,
of that today. I went through my
yeah.
actually went through YouTube. That's my, and I unsubscribed
Mhm.
to a lot of channels that were, because I said I need happiness in my life, and with the what happened last week did not brings me a lot of stress. So I thought I can't do anything about it, so I'm going to unstress myself. I don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, over time, I removed the toxic people that were in my life. A couple of them I still hang around because they're family members, and I'm kind of stuck with them. But
Hmm.
the other ones, I'm like, I got rid of the toxic people, and I changed my mind on a lot of things. I manage my mindset much better, and it's always a work in progress for me.
Right.
But I do, I try to keep my mind positive all the time and happy and magical with Disney. I mean, yeah, when I walk into Disney, that's the best therapy I've ever had because I walk in there and it just like makes that happiness come in. You walk under the bridge and it's like, oh, it just melts away. And that helps me, again, that helps me manage my self care because when I'm walking around, and two, nobody's talking to me about bookkeeping and accounting most of the time.
They aren't.
Nobody cares until maybe some of my clients might see me in there and ask me a question. But yeah, nobody cares. Um, I did turn it into a business too. So that's kind of fun. I like making businesses. So I turned my pin trading into a business. So that's always fun. It's fun for me. So, and that's about self care and it's managing myself and being happy and, working on my diet. It's always a work in progress because I have a sweet tooth and I'm just still kind of eat like a teenager sometimes. Um, I don't like the fancy food. So again, you have to put in your body the right things that'll make you stronger too. So that's a big deal. Um, I'm not one to go to a spa. That's not my thing for self-care. I know a lot of people like to do that. It does not relax me. It drives me nuts. I start hearing that noise and I'm like, oh, it's making my ears ring. Um, I'll get a pedicure just for maintenance because I'm lazy. But but I'm not one to do all that self-care stuff, but I am one to take time for myself. And I actually am doing that over the years. I've learned to do that more and more. To take time for myself and just just tone down. And the most important thing that I've ever learned is also that when I do get sick, recognize it and shut it down and go take time. Right now, even the example right now, I have a cold right now, or actually I have COVID for some reason.
Right.
Um, it came back on me. So that's my signal that after this, I'm going to go crash for a few hours, take some medicine, help myself get better. Because here's the thing is while you I can't stop working because I don't want to. But when I'm sick, I can recognize that okay, I can take a few hours break. I don't have to do anything. My voice is already going. Um, you know, things like that. Last week, when we were, or a couple of weeks ago now, when we were at Intuit Connect, I've hurt my Achilles, so I had to walk around in a boot. Didn't stop me from going. People
Yeah.
always say, "Why didn't you cancel?" I'm like, "Well, I can still manage. I can walk around in a boot.
Yeah. You did
That
pretty
won't hurt
good.
anything." Yeah, I was a little tired, but also burned more energy, I think, which was good.
Yeah.
So all those kinds of things. So what I do every year, I mean, I have like these five like journeys that I'm on. So I have one's family, one's the business, uh, one's my Disney stuff that I'm doing now. But I have five journeys that I'm on.
Uh
So
huh.
within my journeys, and I move them along. They've been the same journeys for years. This is what I'm doing. I have quests within those to move those along. I don't make goals for myself. I don't do an annual goal or anything like that because you'll never reach your goals if you do things like that. But I go on quests to move my journeys along.
Uh
And my
huh.
quests help me build habits. And it helps me build habit to the next thing I want to get to, the next level I want to get to. So I have quests on my journey. They last about 3 weeks. Then I build a new quest. Some are a day if it's just one thing I need to do, but I do 2 to 3 quests a month and it helps me move my journey along. And that's really, I think, way better than goal setting. Goal setting is like, I watch so many people set goals and they never get to them, or they give up, or the goal's too much to attain
Hmm.
to get to where they want to go. So I like quests. Back when I started my business, my journey was to get my family out of Florida to California and my son to the school. Well, it took like about 30 quests to get that to happen over a 2-year period to make that to happen. But I knew where I wanted to be and I knew when I wanted to be there. So I just worked backwards and made my quests for my journeys. And now I have a bunch of more quests I just launched out. And I'll do those for the next 3 weeks and then I'll move those along. Sometimes they go well, sometimes they don't. I always evaluate and go, okay, what did I mess up? Where did I fall down? Do I need to redo it? But that's what I do. And that helps me more than anything else with my self care.
I like to I'd like to just not stress out. I get unstressed. I get stressed too easily with a lot of stuff. And I've been kind of de-stressing myself. And there's a couple of areas that stress me out. First off, if there, Hal likes to garage sale, and there's stuff everywhere. Well, I have been on a cleaning binge. Well, yeah, my house is clean, but it's messy. See behind me? And I mean, I went through the kitchen last week, and I mean, I had 8 Keurig machines, 7 soda streams, 7 like 9 pressure cookers, because I find them at yard sales, and they're $1. So I have a housekeeper, Cece, who I just adore, and so she came over on that when she comes Wednesdays. So Wednesday a week ago, this was before Connect. We went we went through the kitchen, and I said I put it in a pile. I said, and she takes it all to her church. So I said, take it. And so my kitchen is clean. I went through the pots. I mean, how many Farberware pots do you need? I mean, because so I got rid of all the extras. So I went through my underneath the bathroom. In your bathroom where you have old, you just
Yeah.
I went through there, got rid of all that stuff. I mean, so I'm doing it one thing at a time. Okay. I went to Connect before Connect. How many T-shirts do we buy? I thought I'm not wearing these, so I got rid of them. I kept only the ones that I liked. Like I did, I went. Allison Ball made one for uh, me from Licio called Debcio. Well, that one I kept. I kept that one. That was special. But I got rid of like Expensify gave me T-shirts, and I never liked wearing it because the back of it says expense reports that don't suck. I hate that word. So I'm like, why do I have a shirt that I would never wear because I don't like the words? So I got rid of it. I mean, every shirt that I haven't worn, don't want, I mean, out, 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 out. And of course, Hal's seeing this purge, and he's going, "What are you doing?" I could, it's going, And back this morning today, we were in the garage, and he was wrapping a china bowl that he sold on eBay today, and he's at his, and of course we have a path through our garage. One side is all boxes, and the other side is all packing materials. We have a Mercedes and a Toyota Highlander that sit in the garage because the garage stores packing peanuts and Amazon boxes. And they cover a wall I have of kitchen supplies. And I said, see that behind there? Those are going. I've not been back there because I can't get to it for 5 years. It's going. He goes, well, what are you going to do with all this stuff in the front? I go, I'm going to have to move it, and then I'll put it back. I cannot take it anymore. So because that stressed me out. I'm looking at my yarn. I'm thinking, okay, I got all this yarn. I'm never going to knit it all. I love it all. Valerie calls it my collection. I'm going to put it on Ravelry, and you can say, oh, you can sell it. Somebody wants, they want a skein of this, sell it. If I don't sell it, great, I'll keep it. But it's like, I get excited about this yarn. So my son's having a baby, so I had dinner with him last night. So I found all of this stuff that I've been, and I gave him a big box. I said, take this home. If you don't want it, throw it out.
Yep.
So it's
So we're doing the same. Well, here is so we're on our family journey We don't own a house, we rent, and then we can change locations wherever we want because I'm completely online. It doesn't matter. So we can change location. So I know that in April, we're going to probably be changing locations. We've been in this house for like 4 years. So I'm like, oh, I got to get it all down so it fits in one pod because I only want to spend the money for one pod.
Right.
And yep, so I've got it like some work to do. Not too much. It wasn't too bad. We got a pod when we came out here, and we potted it a couple times.
I know you're
But
paying for storage. I mean, just throw it out. I mean,
yeah,
the
yeah.
storage
We've
world.
moved stuff like 5 times that I've never even looked at.
I
We
know.
moved boxes like 5 times.
I remember when Hal and I moved in together. I cleaned up my apartment, and there were like 8 boxes, 8 bankers boxes. I filled them with clothes. They sat in the garage for 8 years.
Yeah,
I never looked at them. I go, I'm never 8 years. I haven't looked. I don't need anything in these boxes.
yeah,
I took them onto the curb, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I don't need them in the garage. What for?" I mean, I'm not going to look through it because then I go, "Oh, maybe I want to keep that." Oh, I remember. I don't even know what's in the boxes, and apparently, I don't miss it enough to go look in the boxes to see what's there.
yep.
So out to the curb they went.
So yeah, so that's the ways. So back to like what stresses you out. So in my world and what I do is something if something is stressing me out, then I create a quest to figure out how I can make that stress go away.
And Teresa says in the thing,
Yeah.
he likes quest is better. Goals can be failure. Then I feel guilty. I totally agree with
Oh
you.
yes.
I
Goals are setting you up for failure.
That's
You
what I
feel
think.
guilty. They're negative, and that just leads into that negative mindset. And you need your mindset to be totally positive to
Right,
run a business
right.
and just run life too. Just be happier. So yeah, so I'm one of those people. If something's stressing me out, I'm gonna figure out what's stressing me out, why it's stressing me out, and figure out a way to fix it. And it's rare that I get stressed out anymore. It's very rare that I have anxiety about some things, and I'm working on fixing
What's the
it. But
difference between
sometimes
what,
it's not. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
what's the difference between anxiety and stress?
Anxiety is more like I'm worried about what could happen when it's totally unrealistic that it's never going to happen.
Okay, like getting on an
So,
airplane and it's going to
like,
crash.
I roll it out like a long ways down. Like, I roll it out like if I do this 10 years from now, this could happen. And, like, that's bad. Don't do that.
I know. I always say to Hal, I said,
I'm working on it.
I
Yeah.
always say to Hal, I don't want to be a bag lady. So when I meet other women, I say, you know what? I, I want you to. We're going to have a big house so we could all live together, so we never have to be bag ladies.
Yep. So I'm learning how to manage the anxiety thing. It's kind of I think it's a family trait. But in that when I worked with a therapist for a while, we figured out kind of how I can manage it so that it doesn't become a bigger problem because it was a problem. I mean, panic attacks, chest pain. It looked like I had a heart attack a couple times. Rushed to the hospital. There were panic attacks because of the anxiety.
Right.
So learning how to manage it much better is a good thing. And going to therapy is a way to do it. So I don't think there's a stigma anymore of like
Not
going to
as much,
therapy.
no. Because I go,
No.
and
Yeah.
I went this past week, and I was feeling. I went on Wednesday because of what happened. That was my regular appointment,
Hmm.
and I got to talk about the results of Tuesday. I was
Hmm.
like totally bummed, and so I felt better just being able to talk about it. And,
Exactly. Yeah. And there's things in our life that will trigger us into different things, and sometimes you don't even know.
I
It
know,
like comes up years later. So I've learned more now about things that trigger the panic attacks and the anxiety now
right?
because I did the therapy, and they're from like 40 years ago.
Wow.
That's like stuff that happens. And that's again managing self-care is about making sure you're checking in with yourself all the time
Yeah,
and
Jeff did
making
what I do.
sure.
Jeff is
Yeah.
avoiding the news.
Yeah, avoid the news.
I can't deal with it. It makes
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah,
deal.
Jeff said avoid the news, and Cindy's here now too, and I
Here,
like Teresa's.
she's great. She
Yeah.
always did at her buds retreat. If like she talked about on our, she was a guest last Thursday. It was wonderful how she would do a wellness day.
Mhm.
So she's good about that.
Yeah.
I can take some pointers for her because she's another Disney nerd and goes to Disney all the time and does like I remember we had a sound person, um, a sound person there one time and all sorts of and it was really good. Um, you know, and I like to do I exercise that really helps me, and I do Pilates, which you know I do it for it's a great stress reliever for me. So when I get off, so I eat, if I can't go to Pilates, I'll go take a walk. The other thing I do is I take deep breaths.
Hmm.
You know,
I
so
have comfort movies that I watch when it's really bad. When I'm having high anxiety, I have comfort
what are your
movies.
comfort movies?
So, the 90 or the 80s, the 80s kind of Brat Pack movies. Those are my comfort movies. Also, movies where natural disasters. I love I love like
Or how
Volcano,
about that movie Airplane?
Armageddon. Which one?
Airplane.
No, I don't really watch Airplane that much. I have. I
Airport.
love the
Airport.
yeah,
Airport with Burt Lancaster.
airport like Airport 77, Airport 78, Airport. Nope. I like Delta Force. That was a good one. I like, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, any natural disaster movie. Like I think I said Armageddon,
Burning,
Twister.
Burning Inferno. The Inferno.
No, I don't think I've seen that
That
one
had Paul
yet.
Newman in it.
Oh, it did? Oh, those
Poseidon
the Towering Inferno.
Adventure. How about the
Yep, yep. That was a good one.
Poseidon
That's a good
Adventure?
one.
Remember that one?
Yep, they remade that one too.
Well,
That was a good one.
that was stinky. My dad for Christmas took us down to Philadelphia to a movie theater to watch the Poseidon Adventure. And, I mean, we watched it in the movie theater on Christmas Day. That was fun, you know. But
So yeah.
I like the like It's a Wonderful Life. I watch that all the time. You know,
Well, I watch that at least once a year.
I like all the
But
oldie gold. Of course, you're in it.
yeah, well there I am. So
You know? And I like what else? I just flipped my mind. I like Sunset Boulevard. Anything with Holden in it.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh,
And then
Sunset
the other
Boulevard.
thing is, yeah, the old Disney movies. The ones we used to see on Wonderful World of Disney on Sunday nights.
Except Old Yeller. I can't watch Old Yeller.
No, I don't watch old Yellow. I don't like the animal ones. I like Swiss Family Robinson or the old ones with like Kurt Russell when he was like a teenager.
Oh, yeah. Well, Cindy
Yeah.
likes Field of Dreams. That's another good one.
Oh, Field of Dreams.
Ugh.
No, I'm not a fan of the sports movies.
Oh, I like baseball. Baseball
No,
movies are good. I like
that was
all
a
the
little
Harry
too.
Potters. I like all the Harry Potters.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
You
And
know,
of course Star Wars and anything Marvel and Star
Ted
Wars I'm
Lasso
like
is one of my new favorites. I watch Ted Lasso a lot.
you haven't got to it yet. Everyone keeps telling me
Oh
to
my
watch
god,
it.
it's like I watch it like 10 times from start to finish. Of course, after Connect with Leslie Odom was there, I watched Hamilton a few more times.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I've
so
seen Hamilton a few times.
yeah, I was
So
talking to Cindy the other day. She's here, and she said she would do her invoicing to Hamilton. She wanted to get it all done before Hamilton ended.
well, that's the whole thing for me in the Broadway plays. I mean, I grew up with that. And my dad loved that type of
Or
music
the
with the
musicals.
musicals.
That's another one my favorite. The music.
Music Man, Sound of Music, Oklahoma. I went to all of them. I've been to like everything.
How have you watched
With
Shrinking? It's by the same. Yes, I've started it. I haven't finished it. Shrinking. It's on Apple. Has
oh, okay, I haven't seen that one.
Harrison Ford in it.
Oh, interesting. I like Harrison Ford.
So
But yep. Oh, all the Indiana Jones movies, of course, if we're talking about Harrison Ford.
I like all the Godfather movies too.
I don't think I've ever watched a Godfather movie.
You're not having watched the God. Oh
Oh
man.
no, that didn't interest me. Those
I was
ones.
actually watching on YouTube today. In fact, it's on my thing. Godfather Part Two commentary by Francis Ford Coppola. He's
Ah,
going through the movie and talking about why he picked those actors and the but in the back. They're not. You're watching the scene.
right. And then they're
You're not
doing the
watching what they're
commentary over it.
talking
Yeah.
about. I'm totally enjoying it. Of course, then I watch my knitting videos. I love to watch my how I just learned how to do brioche stitch, which is a big deal.
Yeah, I'm watching more like videos now about how to do stuff
Right,
because I'm really enjoying doing what we're doing and I'm learning more about that. So I'm like, well, how did and I watch a ton of videos of streamers doing in different industries doing stuff. I'm like, well, can I make that work for us?
right.
How can I make that work for so tons of stuff that I'm watching and
So I
seeing.
I like to watch
Yeah.
help stuff, but then after I go, I can't be more self helped. I just can't, I
Oh,
just
I don't watch self-help stuff.
well, you know, all of that. Like, do I need to learn more? I don't want to learn anything at the moment. Like, I watch a
Yeah.
lot of violin stuff. I like to. I really like that master class. I subscribe to that.
Uh-huh.
I really enjoy that, and but I have to be in the mood.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm just looking now for like little things that I can make better. So I watch
Right.
videos and stuff like that. Little things that I can make better that inspire me to really
Yeah.
that's a lot of the
You know
stuff
what?
is inspiration.
I have to get
Yeah.
out the noise because
Yeah.
otherwise it's like all of this. How can I watch all Hector's videos and Alicia's videos and you know
Oh no,
I
that's
can't.
impossible.
I can't. So, how can I listen to all the podcasts? I can't. I unsubscribed on my YouTube channel. Unsubscribed to all the news ones I was getting, and anything. I mean, my subscription list went to pot.
See, I never
That's okay.
subscribe to
It's not
news
going to cover my
channels.
feed anymore and stress me out.
There you go. You're
So,
dealing with your stress that way.
right.
That's why I don't have any stress. All
Take care.
right. So anything else we
Anybody
have
else
for
want to comment?
today?
We really appreciate all you guys showing up. Cindy, Jeff, and Teresa. You're our, always helping us out by showing up. We'll get more
Yeah.
people. How many subscribers do we have now?
188 as of
We only have
right
to get
now.
12 more to 200. Woohoo!
Yeah. Our goal is to have 1,000. Our goal. We're on a quest. We're on a journey.
Quest to get 1,000.
Yeah, on a
We're going to
journey
be
to get
doing
a
it
thousand by
in
scaling
50
new
people
heights.
increments. Well, 25 people increments, and all of a sudden,
Yeah, so we're gonna do 25 at a time. So
so
that's our quest for every month. If we up every month by 100, it'll be good.
yeah,
So 25 a week, but we'll keep going. We're learning new stuff, reaching new people, figuring out new things all the time. And again, that you know, I'm not stressing about it because why? What's the point? I'm not
right,
going to stress about any of this stuff. I think it just comes with age too. I know that once I turned 50, which I'm much more than that, uh, I started to stop caring about a lot of things. Like, what do I care if that person thinks this about me? What do I care? I found it. I found it very freeing when I stopped caring about a lot of stuff, which is wonderful. It's like, what do I care if they go do this? What do I care if someone's trying to do something to torpedo what I'm doing? Let them go do their thing. I'm still going to be here
right,
in the
right,
end.
right,
I'm just going to go do my thing. I'm not going to listen to that noise.
right.
So I think when you get it comes with age. I wish I knew that when I was 30 and not now, but here we are,
Yep,
and I'm much happier now.
yep.
I was always happy, but
Me
I
too.
like I wake up. One thing that I learned a long time ago: if you wake up in the morning and you make a decision every day about how you're going to behave. I learned a long time. I learned this in my 20s. I must have been in school or somebody told me, just wake up and say it's going to be a good day and you're going to be happy today. It's a decision you make to be happy. No matter
Right,
what happens, it's a decision to make that you're going to be happy. No
right,
matter what happens around you, you're just going to be happy. Now, there are going to be days where people annoy you. There's going to be sad days because sad things happen sometimes to people you love or things happen around you. You're going to be sick. You're not going to feel good, but you're still underlying. You made a decision. I'm going to be happy no matter what hits me that day. And I learned that in my 20s, and that's like really kept me moving along. Um, through things. Sometimes at work, sometimes, I lost my way a little bit, but I always come back to that. And I keep telling my kids even that, like, when you wake up in the morning, it's a decision to be happy that day.
right,
And you should remember that. They haven't figured out to remember that yet, but they're still a little bit young. You decide you're going to be happy, and then anything that hits you is just going to come. And you're just going to let it roll. You're going to decide to be happy, and then you're going to deal with it. So I think deciding to be happy no matter what situation you're in is a big deal. I've been in a ton of situations where most people would not be happy, and a lot weren't. But I was always the one that was happy. And I did learn that from my dad too. So he may be the one that actually got me that way because he was always happy no matter what happened to him. And a lot of not good stuff happens sometimes.
my dad. Every time
Mhm.
anybody would ask my dad, "How are you?" He'd go, "Just great." You would always, I'm just great.
Yeah, even up till the day he passed and he knew what was coming. He knew it. And I know he was sad and scared. He was still happy. And yeah, and I just remember that all the way to the end. He was still happy and way through. He still was like, "I'm gonna make it through this." I'm like, "Dad, no." It's pretty much we knew it was coming. He knew it was coming. We already had the talk about it, but he was happy till the end, and that was the thing that lives in my heart always
Yeah.
with him. So,
All right. Well,
all
good luck,
right,
everybody. Thanks for joining us today. And we were here going to be here Thursday. And we have a special guest. Sarah Laidlaw is going to be our guest on Thursday. And
and she's going to be talking about nonprofits.
yes, not well. She's
Yes.
a nonprofit expert, but she also has
Okay.
a really cool tool called TBX. And I met. We'll talk about how I met her.
Oh, nice. That'll
So
be
that's a
fun.
funny story. So, but
All right.
yeah, so that should be good. So we'll join us Thursday and talk to Sarah Laidlaw. Will be with us, and we will all see you then.
All right, great. And share this with your friends. Remember to like and subscribe. And you guys have a wonderful afternoon as I try to figure out how to put the outro up.
It's loud. Put down your. We haven't figured out the volume control yet, but we're
All
going.
right.
All right. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.